Hello everyone, welcome or welcome back to my channel Favor's Flavor. My name is Favor. I'm so excited to see you guys. I hope you guys like this video and I hope you subscribe if you haven't already. Today I'll be talking about Jessica George. She's the author of Maame and her upcoming novel Love by the Book, which gets released April of 2026. I was able to get an advanced reading copy and let me tell you guys, she has done it again. She's 2 for 2 in my book and I can't wait to talk to you guys about it. So in the past week, I've spent my time immersed in both books and I just want to give you guys my thoughts, what I thought about it. Basically, I'm going to try to keep this video spoiler free, but this video is going to talk about both books, what I liked about it, what I didn't like about it, how they compare, considering that both books are being released like 3 or 4 years apart. This isn't like a deep literary analysis type of video. This is more of my thoughts, my experience. So I hope you guys enjoy. If you're curious about Jessica George, or you just like finding out about new authors, or maybe you read Maame and didn't know she was coming out with a new book, I hope this video can help you guys out, and I truly hope that you guys enjoy both books if you pick them up because of this video. So before we get into both books, I just want to talk about Jessica George, who she is briefly. She's a British Guinean author. I believe she's in her late 20s or early 30s. I'm not sure. She writes a lot of literary and contemporary fiction books. Honestly, if you liked Bolu Babalala, you liked Sweet Heat and Honey and Spice, there's a pretty good chance you're gonna like Jessica George and her books too. They're not similar in their writing and books. They just remind me of each other in a way. If you've read any of the books, you would understand what I'm trying to say. She writes a lot of books about people in my age range, so that 20s to like early 30s range. And I just love that how she's able to write her characters with so much emotional depth. It makes you feel like you're that character. I enjoy her writing. I can't wait to see more of what she releases. Honestly, if she's watching this video, I'll take a short story collection. I'll take a novella. Please just release something. I hope you guys support her if you haven't heard about her before. So now let's talk about Maame. So Maame is her debut book. This book, the cover is so beautiful. I actually got the physical book from Book Outlet during one of my Book Outlet hauls. And it's actually available on Kindle Unlimited. So if you have Kindle Unlimited, you don't even need to buy this book. And I was able to get the audiobook from Libby through my library. And I was just excited about that. I was basically set up to read this book so good. I had the audiobook, I had the physical book, I had Kindle. There was no reason why I wasn't going to have a good time. This book is about Maddie, right? I'll read the brief blurb about what this book is about before I get started. It says, smart, funny, and deeply affecting, Maame deals with the themes of our time and human pregnancy. From familial duty and racism to female pleasure, the complexity of love, and the life-saving power of friendship. Most important, it explores what it feels like to be torn between two homes and cultures, and it celebrates finally being able to find where you belong. Maddie is basically a late bloomer, and she's the only daughter of an African immigrant household. Obviously, Jessica George is Guinean, so in this book, Maddie is also Guinean. So I'm not Guinean, I'm Nigerian. But obviously, if you know about West Africa, some of stuff is similar, so I feel like I still can relate to Maddie in so many ways. This book is about 300 pages. I would say it's like medium paced, although the beginning was like a little slow to pick up. But the thing about that is, because I read some reviews talking about how, the first half was boring, but that was just Maddie's life. Like, that's real life. That's some people's life, just going to a boring job, going home, not having any friends, or not being able, like, just being a late bloomer. Like, she's writing about real people. I feel like I could relate to that in a way. Maybe not right now in this instance, but there's a lot of people I feel like that are lonely and alone, stuck in miserable jobs, don't have friends, or their friends are far away for different reasons. This book talks about grief, it talks about culture, it talks about, coming of age, even at that later stage in life. It talks about caretaking. And in this book, you can see how Maddie's brother basically isn't shit. Her mom also is like, her mom's character is funny to me because I feel like a lot of people are annoyed by her mom's character, but that's real life. I know a lot of aunties that are like that. So I just appreciate that there's people like Jessica George writing about these people that are real They might not be popular, but they are real people, you know. And obviously in this book, Maddie's father is sick and she's the primary caretaker. She's like, she has the financial load of like having to take care of her father while her mom and brother basically just up and lives her. And I'm not gonna like give too many spoilers, but just know that this just goes through Maame discovering herself, you know, eventually leaving home and, you know, getting to do some first time things that most people would have done when they were 17 and 18. She was just getting to do it at 25, and also getting stuck in like miserable jobs, which she ended up was basically fired, or she left the first job and ended up having to get another job. It feels like real life to me, and I just loved how Jessica George wrote this book and wrote the character Maddie. I ended up rating Maame 4 stars. I definitely loved it. It wasn't like my favorite book where I would have rated it 5 stars, but I loved it. And the only thing I feel like maybe I didn't like so much was how much of the whole, let me go on Google and check this. Let me Google, can you tell me what does a bisexual man mean? That sort of stuff. Like, obviously, yeah, people do that in real life, but I feel like there was too much of it in the book. That makes sense. But otherwise, I honestly don't have anything bad to say about Maame. I found myself rooting for her. I found parts of me in her. So it was just a wonderful book. And like I said, this isn't like a deep literary analysis. I'm sure if you go in depth, you're probably going to find a comma where there was supposed to be a full stop, that kind of stuff. That's not what I do. If you're someone that loves the kind of books I like and just loves reading about books about women in their mid to late 20s that don't involve like getting married, having kids. Basically, she was going through a quarter life crisis, and I literally just went through that this year. So I definitely related so much with Maddie and this book. I totally recommend it if you're in the market for it. Next book I want to talk about is Loved by the Book, also by Jessica George. And I rated this book at 5 stars. Like, it was so good. And I debated maybe rating it at 4.5. And the reason I ended up rating it at 5 stars is because I literally don't know any book like this book. I can't think of, if you guys know any books that like center around platonic romance and friendships the way this book does, please recommend it to me because I would like to read it. Let me tell you guys what this book is about based on what is on Goodreads. So I'm going to try not to give any spoilers. I'm going to try my best. But it says, 2 women, a chance meeting. Friendship is a love story you can count on. Remy is lucky. Her 3 best friends have always been there for her. Until the day they're not. One of them is moving to New York, one of them is pregnant, and one of them is busy with her awful boyfriend. Suddenly their foursome is splitting, and it feels like a breakup. Simone doesn't need friends. The only people she needs are her family, but when they cut her off, she realizes how alone she is. When Simone and Remy meet in a bookshop, it doesn't go well, but they might have bumped into exactly what they need. This isn't romance, but it is about love. And honestly, this is about love. And this is the first time I've read about a book that talks about friendships and such like a romantic way, not in like a lesbian type of way, but like in a platonic romance way. And I appreciate it. Like, I honestly, her mind, like, I read part of what my review was on Goodreads, and I just said that like this book feels like therapy to me. It honestly did. This feels like the kind of book that would be written as a nonfiction about friendships, but put in like a fiction way, if that makes sense. I recommend this book to women in their mid-20s to mid-30s. I honestly, it feels like anybody in this age range that I know, I'm going to be telling them about this book. I feel like it's something that everybody should read if you can. And part of what I said in my review was I recommend this book especially to women in the mid-20s to mid-30s. As someone that is in this age group and has struggled and still struggles with friendships, I learned so much about friendships and platonic romance from this book. Jessica wove in a lot of elements very creatively. Different types of women and friends in that age range were represented here. I could see myself in at least 3 or 4 of the women mentioned in this book. So like I said earlier, there's 4 friends. There's Remy, Lynn, Melissa, and Nova. So Remy is the author, one of the main, I believe she's the main character. Then there's Melissa, the one that's pregnant, just got married and basically has to move because she wants like the whole I want a house, I want my family, I want neighbors, I want to join the mommy groups. That's who she is. Then there's Lynn, who wants to move to New York because she is a lawyer. She's the career focused one. She's the child free by choice. I don't want any kids. And then there's Nova. She has a braiding business. Her business is booming, but she also has the good for nothing boyfriend that she ends up going back to after she has a loss in her life. Obviously, there's Remy, the author. She had success with her first book. Now she's like having difficulties writing this second book while her whole foursome friendship is going to shits. So that's that friend group. Then there is Simone. Simone is a special person. Honestly, I'm not gonna give it away because if I say anything about Simone, it's probably gonna like spoil it for you all. Just know Simone has a sister called Jenny, and something big happens that like basically forces her and her sister, who used to be like best friends, basically. Simone was the kind of person I was like, I don't need a best friend, I have my sister. And they had that thing going. They were like close. Her parents are like pastors, African, I believe they were Guinean, basically, just like with Maame and Jessica George herself. And this book just explores, obviously, Simone separating with her sister because of this thing that happened earlier in the book. And you will know more about it once you read it. And then you also have Remy and her foursome group separating, and these two women end up meeting in a bookshop, by not in like a great way. Something actually happens and they didn't actually connect that first time. It took another time meeting for them to actually connect, and it just shows how they basically kind of like started dating each other in like a friendship, platonic way. I don't even know how it makes sense, but you know, just think about how much you do for your friends, how you would do the same thing if you had a partner, if that makes sense. This book is definitely so beautiful. There's so much that Jessica George was able to add to this book that wasn't just the friendship part. There's debates about, you know, having kids or not to have kids, what it feels like to be in the middle, you know, all these kinds of things. And I just feel like it's this kind of story is necessary, and I like that she wrote it so well. So one of the quotes that I saved from Love by the Book, it says, well, think about it. What does it mean to be romantic? To buy flowers, to take someone out to dinner, to commit thoughtful actions, and to give thoughtful gifts, to have long, meaningful conversations, to be loyal and devoted. I've done all of this and above for my friends. In sense, platonic love can be incredibly romantic. There's another one that says, the way I sit, you can't tell women they shouldn't have children just as much as you can't tell women that they should. Just keep your fucking nose out of it. Yep, that was another thing that I enjoyed. So briefly, we're getting towards the end of this video. I hope you guys have been enjoying the video so far. I'm just gonna talk about whatever parallels there are with both books, Maame and Love by the Book. Honestly, I would say there's that cultural aspect of one of the main characters having Guinean family, parents type of stuff. There's also that emotional depth. Although there is some friendship aspects of Maame, is not as like pungent as it is in Love by the Book. I love both books. They're about different things, but both books talk about main characters in their 20s, which is, you know, my age range and what I feel like I want to read more books about. It makes it so easy to read books about when the main character is someone you can relate to in some way. And I definitely love Jessica George, and I'm just happy like that I read these two books when I did, and I'll be excited to read more of whatever she has to offer. She doesn't have any backlog, unfortunately, but like I said, if she wants to release a novella, a short story collection, an essay, I'll be there to read it. If you guys have read any of these books, especially Maame, because I don't think the general public has gotten to read Love by the Book yet, please comment down below. I would love to chat with you guys in the comments, and I genuinely enjoyed making this video. I would love to do this sometime soon, and I believe the author I want to do it with is Akweke Maisie. I have 2 of her books right now, and there's like 4 books of hers that I'm like, I want to read this in the near future. Okay, so I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. I hope you like it. I hope you comment and subscribe, and see you guys in my next video. Bye.